Let me ask you something. When was the last time you felt truly alive at work? Not just getting through the day, not just waiting for the weekend, but genuinely energized, inspired, and fulfilled? If it's been a while, maybe too long, it might not be burnout. It might be your body and spirit quietly telling you, it's time. Retirement isn't giving up. It's stepping into a new chapter, one that honors your health, your joy, and the years you have left. And sometimes, the smartest move is to retire earlier than you ever thought you would. If this message speaks to you, even a little, please subscribe, like, or leave a comment below. This channel is here for you to guide, encourage, and support your next chapter with wisdom and care. You've spent your life working. Now it's time to live well. 8 signs you should retire earlier than you think. Number 1, you're constantly tired, and it's not just physical. When the tiredness becomes more than just needing a nap, when it settles into your bones, into your spirit, and doesn't lift even after rest, it may be something deeper than age. Some doctors refer to this kind of weariness as chronic fatigue, and while it can have many causes for people over 50, one of the most overlooked is emotional and mental exhaustion from work. The kind that builds up silently over the years and begins to affect everything: memory, mood, blood pressure, even the immune system. It's not laziness, it's not weakness, it's a warning. Work-related fatigue often doesn't show up all at once. It builds in layers: a growing lack of motivation, trouble focusing, heavier mornings, and evenings spent simply recovering from the day rather than enjoying it. Some people start sleeping more but still wake up tired. Others find themselves getting sick more often or struggling to bounce back from minor illnesses. According to research from the Mayo Clinic, long-term fatigue and stress can lead to chronic inflammation in the body, which is linked to heart disease, diabetes, and depression, all of which become more dangerous with age. This kind of deep fatigue can also dull your joy. Hobbies that once brought pleasure might feel like chores. Conversations become shorter. You begin to pull away, not because you want to, but because you're just too drained. Over time, this can lead to isolation, which increases the risk of cognitive decline and even dementia, especially in people over 60. Doctors often warn that pushing through chronic fatigue with no plan to rest or recover only delays the inevitable. Your body will force rest eventually, sometimes in the form of illness. Some people stay in their jobs longer because they believe it's what they're supposed to do. But if work is draining you to the point where even weekends aren't enough to recover, it might be time to ask whether continuing is worth what it's costing. Many people believe fatigue is just part of getting older. But there's a difference between healthy tiredness and burnout. One goes away with rest, the other doesn't. And if the source of your exhaustion is the very thing you spend most of your waking hours doing, stepping away isn't quitting. It's self-preservation. Your health, your time, and your energy are limited resources. The older you get, the more precious they become. If your body is waving the white flag and rest no longer brings relief, retiring earlier than planned may not be failure. It might be your best chance to live the years ahead with strength, clarity, and peace. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you. Number 2, your work is starting to affect your health. When work begins to take a noticeable toll on your health, it's not just an inconvenience, it's a sign that something deeper is out of balance. For people over 50, the body doesn't rebound from stress the way it used to. The effects of long hours, chronic deadlines, or mentally taxing tasks can begin to show up in very real, physical ways. Doctors often point out that sustained stress triggers hormonal changes, increasing cortisol levels, which can lead to weight gain, high blood pressure, poor sleep, and even suppressed immune function. If you've started developing headaches, stomach problems, or persistent aches you didn't have before, and your doctors can't find a clear cause, work stress may be contributing more than you realize. The American Psychological Association warns that job strain is one of the leading causes of stress-related illness in older adults. It doesn't have to come from physical labor. Even sitting at a desk under constant pressure can damage the body if there's no recovery. Over time, this kind of low-grade but constant stress can wear down the heart, weaken blood vessels, and contribute to cardiovascular disease. One of the clearest signals is sleep disruption. If you're waking up at 3 a.m. thinking about unfinished work or dreading the next day, that isn't just insomnia, or that's your nervous system staying on high alert. Sleep is when the body repairs itself. Without it, everything suffers. Memory, metabolism, emotional resilience, even your risk for stroke or Alzheimer's. Many seniors assume poor sleep is just part of aging, but some sleep specialists suggest that job-related stress is a far more common cause, and one that can be addressed sometimes simply by stepping away from the source. Even if your job feels manageable most days, it's worth looking at your medical records. Are your numbers creeping up? Is your doctor nudging you about your heart, your cholesterol, or your blood sugar? Some people wait until they have a full-blown diagnosis before they make changes. But by then, the damage is harder to reverse. Retiring early doesn't just give you time back. It can also give your body a chance to heal and recalibrate before things become serious. Mental health is just as important. Anxiety, irritability, and even low-grade depression can all stem from staying too long in a high-stress job, and it's often overlooked in older adults who are expected to just push through. But emotional stress doesn't disappear. It shows up in the body. Over time, it can lead to real consequences like cognitive decline, hormonal imbalance, and systemic inflammation. If your job is making you sick, whether physically, mentally, or emotionally, no amount of income or insurance is worth that cost. There comes a time when preserving your health must take priority. Retiring earlier may feel like a leap, but it's a leap toward healing, toward longevity, and toward truly enjoying the life you've worked so hard to build. Number 3, you've lost the passion and it's not coming back. When the work that once gave you purpose starts to feel like a chore, and the spark you used to feel is gone for good, it's more than just a passing slump. It's a signal that your time there may be done. Losing passion isn't failure. It's a natural part of life's rhythm, especially after decades of showing up, doing your best, and giving so much of yourself. Some career psychologists explain that after 50, it's common to experience what they call values realignment. What mattered most at 35 may no longer match what fulfills you now. And that disconnect often shows up as fatigue, irritability, or apathy toward work. People often stay because they think the feeling might pass. But if you've tried changing roles, adjusting schedules, or even taking time off, and nothing brings the old spark back, it may not be burnout, it may be closure. Burnout can sometimes be fixed with rest, but a loss of purpose that lingers, despite rest, often means the job no longer aligns with who you are or who you're becoming. Continuing in that space out of habit or obligation can lead to what some doctors call existential fatigue, a quiet, chronic form of stress that wears down both your mental health and emotional resilience. This kind of disconnection can also affect performance. Tasks take longer, focus fades, deadlines feel heavier, not because you're less capable, but because your mind and heart are no longer fully there. It's common to feel guilty about this, especially if you're known for being dependable, but staying in a role where your heart isn't present doesn't help anyone, not your colleagues, not your family, and certainly not your health. Many older adults report that when passion leaves their work, their thoughts begin to wander more, frequently to what they're missing. Time with grandkids, hobbies left untouched, places they've always wanted to visit. That quiet pull towards something more meaningful is your inner compass trying to reorient you. It's not selfish to follow it. In fact, retirement can become the very space where passion returns, just in a different form. Whether it's volunteering, mentoring, or simply waking up without dread, passion doesn't end with work. It often begins again once the pressure lifts. If the joy is gone, if work no longer feels like a calling but a cage, it may be time to step back. Not because you've lost your value, but because your energy deserves to be spent on things that give back, not just take. Retiring earlier, in this case, is not a retreat, it's a redirection toward meaning, peace, and purpose that actually fits the season of life you're in now. Number 4, you're missing out on life's most important moments. When work starts pulling you away from the people and moments that matter most, it's time to pay attention. Missing one birthday or one weekend away might not seem like much, but when those moments start stacking up, they turn into years you can't get back. Many older adults find themselves saying, maybe next time, to a grandchild's recital, a family trip, or a simple afternoon in the garden. And slowly, those next times become missed chances they quietly regret. Doctors who study aging often emphasize the role of connection, joy, and memory-making in long-term mental health. The presence of meaningful relationships and shared experiences has been shown to protect against depression, dementia, and even heart disease. In contrast, people who stay overly committed to work, especially in demanding or time-consuming roles, may experience what researchers call relational thinning, where bonds slowly weaken simply because there's not enough time to nurture them. This doesn't mean work is bad. For many, it's been a source of identity and pride for decades. But if the job is crowding out the very life it was meant to support, it may be time to reevaluate. Work can always be replaced. The people we love, and the time we have with them, cannot. There's a brief window in life when aging parents are still with us, grandchildren are young and impressionable, or a spouse is still healthy enough to travel or explore the world together. That window closes faster than most expect. Retirement isn't about doing nothing. It's about doing what matters while you still can. Researchers from Harvard have found that people who retire earlier and use their time to invest in relationships, purpose, and community tend to report higher life satisfaction and even longer life expectancy. They're not slowing down, they're showing up for birthdays, breakfasts, school pickups, long walks, or simply being there when it counts. If your job is keeping you away from the very things that give life meaning, it's worth asking who's benefiting and who's missing out. No title, no paycheck, and no project is worth more than time with the people who will one day be your legacy. Retiring earlier isn't an escape, it's a return. A return to laughter around the dinner table, to late-night talks, to grandchildren, climbing into your lap, and to quiet mornings with no agenda. When you start missing life, it's a sign. The job may need to go before anything or anyone more precious does. Number 5, you're financially ready, even if you don't feel like it. When your job starts feeling uncertain, whether it's because of company changes, new leadership, shifting technology, or unspoken age bias, the quiet tension can become a daily weight on your mind and body. You begin questioning every decision, second-guessing your place, and wondering if the next round of cuts might include you. That kind of stress doesn't stay at the office. It follows you home, affects your sleep, and slowly chips away at your confidence and well-being. For workers over 50, this situation is more common than most realize. According to data from AARP, many older employees feel more vulnerable during company restructuring or layoffs, even if they've been loyal for decades. Sometimes it's subtle, being passed over for training, excluded from new projects, or feeling pressure to keep up with a younger, faster-paced team. Other times, it's more obvious, like being asked about retirement plans long before you've brought them up yourself. While none of this may be openly acknowledged, the feeling of instability is very real. Living under the constant threat of losing your job, pleaded in, or being pushed out is not just uncomfortable. It can be harmful to your health. Studies from the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health show that job insecurity is linked to chronic stress, higher blood pressure, poor sleep, and increased risk of depression. Even the anticipation of potential job loss can trigger anxiety responses in the body similar to actual trauma. It's your nervous system sounding the alarm. Many older adults push through this, telling themselves to hang in there until a certain age or financial goal. But if that goal keeps moving farther out and your sense of stability keeps shrinking, it may be time to consider whether waiting is truly worth the toll. Some financial advisors suggest that if you've reached a point where your basic needs and lifestyle goals can be met with your savings, pensions, or social security, continuing in a job that feels unpredictable may not be worth the emotional strain. It's also important to remember that a secure retirement doesn't just mean financial safety. It also means emotional safety, the ability to wake up without dread, to feel at peace about the future, and to no longer fear the next email or calendar invite. If the foundation beneath your job is beginning to shake and that instability is starting to affect your health, sleep, or mood, retiring earlier may not just be an exit. It can be a protective choice, one that preserves your dignity, your peace of mind, and your sense of control over the life you've worked so hard to build. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you. Number 6. You're only working for health insurance. When you begin to feel like a number instead of a person, like your years of experience are being overlooked, or your voice doesn't carry the weight it once did, that quiet erosion of respect can slowly wear you down. Feeling replaceable isn't just about ego. It's about purpose, identity, and the human need to feel valued. For many people over 50, this shift doesn't happen all at once. It builds slowly. Younger hires get the spotlight, your input is bypassed, or your workload remains high while your influence shrinks. And eventually it starts to hurt. Some workplace studies show that older employees are often less likely to be offered leadership roles or cutting-edge training. Not because of their abilities, but because of assumptions. Quiet ageism isn't always loud or hostile. Sometimes it's simply being left out of conversations that matter, or being assigned to maintenance roles instead of innovative ones. Over time, this makes people feel invisible in a place where they once had purpose and pride. That feeling of being sidelined can lead to stress, self-doubt, and even depression, especially in people who've given years, sometimes decades, to their profession. There's also a deep emotional cost to staying in a space where you no longer feel needed. It can drain your motivation, make each day heavier, and dull your sense of contribution. People begin to feel like they're just filling a chair. And for someone who has always taken pride in showing up, working hard, and making a difference, that can be painful. According to mental health experts, long-term feelings of being undervalued can trigger what's known as learned helplessness, the belief that your efforts no longer matter, no matter how hard you try. This isn't about bitterness. It's about recognizing when a season has changed, and if the space you're in no longer reflects the value you bring, it may be time to step out, not in defeat, but in self-respect. Retiring earlier can be an act of reclaiming your worth. It's a way of choosing to spend your time in places and with people who see you, hear you, and appreciate the full measure of your life experience. If the job you once loved now makes you feel invisible, unimportant, or outdated, ask yourself how much longer you're willing to carry that weight. The truth is, no one is irreplaceable at work. But in your family, your community, your friendships, you are. And that's where your energy is needed most. Retiring early in this case isn't giving up. It's returning home to where you still matter, deeply and fully. Number 7, you dream about retirement daily, and not just on bad days. When just a few more years turns into 5, 10, or even 15, it's time to stop and ask what you're really waiting for. Many people over 50 keep working longer than they want to, not because they love the job, but because it feels safer to delay change. They tell themselves they'll retire after the next project, once the mortgage is paid, or after one last bonus. And then time slips by, quietly, relentlessly. The truth is, a few more years often becomes a moving target. And one day, you look up and wonder where those years went. Financial stability matters, and it's wise to plan carefully. But some financial advisors warn that many older workers overestimate how much longer they'll be able to keep working. Health changes, family responsibilities, or unexpected layoffs can all cut a career short before that perfect retirement moment arrives. Waiting for the ideal time, when everything lines up, every box is checked, may mean waiting forever. And in the meantime, the best, most mobile, healthiest years are spent at a desk, in a meeting, or under fluorescent lights. There's also an emotional toll to always delaying. You may start to feel stuck, not quite miserable, but not happy either. Life becomes a countdown and joy gets postponed. Many retirees later say that once they left, they couldn't believe how long they'd waited. They didn't realize how much freedom, energy, and peace they were missing until they stepped out of the routine and into a slower, more fulfilling pace. And in hindsight, they often regret trading time for just a bit more income they didn't really need. Psychologists describe this pattern as future-based living, always planning, always preparing, but rarely living in the moment. While some of that is necessary, especially for retirement, there comes a point when the planning becomes a shield against change, and that shield starts to keep you from experiencing the life you worked so hard to build. If you're already secure, enough to meet your needs, if your goals can be met without overextending yourself, then continuing to say just a little longer may not be caution, it may be fear. And that fear is understandable. Retiring is a major shift. But so is missing out on the healthiest, most capable years of your later life. The longer you delay, the fewer good years remain to travel, to build new routines, to enjoy slow mornings and long lunches, to rediscover what makes you feel alive. If you've been saying just a few more years for a while now, that may be your sign. Not to wait, but to finally start. Because the clock isn't slowing down, and neither should your chance to live fully. Number 8, you're staying out of guilt, not joy. When your body starts sending warning signs, aches that don't go away, rising blood pressure, poor sleep, constant tension, it's not just aging, it's your system telling you something's off. And if those issues seem to grow worse during the work week or fade slightly on weekends, it's likely your job is no longer supporting your health. It's hurting it. No matter how mentally sharp or experienced someone is, the physical toll of stress can begin to outpace your ability to bounce back as you get older. Some doctors call this wear and tear syndrome, the slow cumulative damage caused by chronic stress, long hours, poor posture, lack of movement, and emotional pressure. Over time, that wear and tear leads to inflammation, heart strain, weakened immunity, and a higher risk of chronic conditions like diabetes and depression. The problem isn't just the workload, it's the fact that your body isn't recovering the way it used to. And pushing through it out of duty or habit can make things worse, not just for your health, but for your quality of life. Work-related stress after 50 isn't just about tight deadlines or demanding bosses. It's the mental weight of trying to stay relevant in a fast-changing environment. It's managing invisible pressures while juggling your own health concerns, your family's needs, and the silent fear that your body is slowing down. Many older adults minimize these signs, telling themselves to just tough it out. But toughing it out can cost you dearly, in mobility, energy, and even years of life. Research from the Journal of Occupational Health Psychology shows that workers who stay in high-stress environments beyond age 55 are at greater risk for heart disease, strokes, and cognitive decline. And while early retirement isn't always the answer, staying in a job that actively worsens your health should never be seen as strength. That's not resilience, that's neglect of your own well-being, your future, and the people who want you around and healthy. Retirement in this case isn't about stopping, it's about healing. It's about giving your body the space to recover, to rest properly, to move at a pace that doesn't grind your joints or spike your cortisol. It's about replacing late nights at the computer with early morning walks, trading fluorescent lights for natural ones, swapping desk lunches for peaceful meals with people you love. These small changes have big ripple effects. And for some, they can be the difference between managing a chronic illness and avoiding one altogether. If your health is slipping and your job is speeding that decline, it may be time to shift your priorities. You can always find ways to stay active, stay involved, and stay productive, but in ways that support your health, not strain it. Retiring earlier in this case isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It's choosing to protect what's left of your energy so you can use it where it truly matters, on the life you still have ahead. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.